Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. What is Bitcoin going to do in Pumpvember? We are in the new month. Is Bitcoin setting up for its next explosive move? Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happened yesterday and over the weekend as well. All right, let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting out a day right here. 107.6, a little bit lower than yesterday. We were hovering right around 110. You know, business as usual, and then boom, we went back down to 107.5. So why was that? Well, let's discuss. But more importantly, let's discuss what is going to happen this month. What is going to cause this next explosive move? Well, today, the U.S. market is starting out in the green, at least mostly for tech. Look at tech, NASDAQ up 234. Dow is slightly down, but you can see NVIDIA having an explosive move. Amazon made an OpenAI deal. Robinhood's up. MicroStrategy and Coinbase, not so good right now. But AI is definitely leading the way. Why is this? Well, couple things. I think this is the biggest thing that came out of last week. Is this de-escalation, okay, according to White House, between China and the U.S. China will suspend all retaliatory tariffs, and then they'll still start buying U.S. goods, and that sounds good. This is a big de-escalation, right? So this is a big reason why it seems like tech or risk-on assets are doing well today, and probably will continue to do better later this week. So this should be good for everything, all around. All around. This is one of the reasons why in my video yesterday, I thought this week was going to be very good. And I may be right about stocks, but I don't know about crypto. There's something holding us back right now. But in terms of on a macro front, on a geopolitical front, things are looking good. Maybe not with India, though, because now India seems to have this contentious relationship with the U.S., and India now has, or we place a higher tariff on India than even China now. So that might cause problems. Don't know. As for the EU or European Commission, I should say, is considering some kind of SEC oversight for digital assets and financial markets. This is actually a good thing. They're talking about a global framework that looks over everything, right? Kind of like the SEC. I don't know if they're going to be as relaxed as the SEC now is, but it gives some clarity at least. So that is good. We'll see what comes of that. Also, I saw this, which does relate. The U.S., or at least the Fed, just injected about $30 billion in liquidity into the markets. So this is something that the Fed does, right? So they have a couple tools in their tool shed. One is just to manipulate rates. Another is to buy up junk bonds, you know, whenever they need to save. And that's what, like, basically injecting money is. So sometimes they need to do that when corporations are failing or banks are failing or whatever. They need to just bail out someone. So this goes, obviously, towards the debt, the deficit. Even though the Fed has their own, but ultimately it comes from the overall deficit. And, you know, it's never ending, okay? It's never ending. This is the reason why people are starting to distrust more and more so of the dollar and of fiat in general, because central banks, not just the Fed alone, will always do this. And eventually, it all topples, and that's why you need to hold on store of values like real estate, like gold, like Bitcoin. And the best is the last one I mentioned, in case you couldn't figure that out. All right. Moving on to Bitcoin related stuff. You still have Blackrock, okay, the largest asset manager on the planet, telling CNBC and its audience that Bitcoin is a global, scarce, emerging monetary instrument. It's a diversifier and hedge. Again, based on what I just said, people that want to hedge against central banks or Fed, or hedge against their dollar or whatever fiat, you need to buy a store of value, okay? And nothing has outperformed Bitcoin over the last however many years now. 15, 16 years. There will be times where it could get rocky, could go down, but when in doubt, zoom out, you look at the overall picture, nothing has outperformed Bitcoin in the last 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, nothing. Nothing is close. Another big bank CEO, Standard Chartered, expects blockchain to eventually power all global transactions, and Standard Chartered themselves are big believers of Bitcoin and everything related to Bitcoin, like custody and trading and all that stuff, all the services. Even a CEO, once upon a time, said 30% of his net assets is in Bitcoin. So obviously, there are a lot of people that believe. And these big, smart, big whale, big money, smart investors do not care about day-to-day or week-to-week volatility. They know the future, they understand, and they're not going to shy away from Bitcoin. They're not. And neither should you. I'm seeing a lot of bearish sentiment out there, and I know it's quite frustrating when on a Sunday, everything seems to be doing well, and then boom, you get that nasty drop out of nowhere. Yeah, that's frustrating. But we have seen it before, time and time again, and we always recover from that. U.S. Texas State Teachers Retirement Fund just reported they hold about 20 million of strategy shares. So that's their way of investing in Bitcoin. And Strategy themselves, of course, keeps on investing. And they just bought another 397 Bitcoin for about $46 million. Saylor will continue to load up, and that will never stop. All right. What else is there? Well, if you look at the ETFs, some bad, some good. Bitcoin on Friday had a 192 million outflow. Okay, that makes 3 straight days. Obviously, Wall Street is a little scared right now. They're kind of like retail sometimes. When it gets scary, everyone just follows the herd and like, okay, everyone's selling, let's sell. Right? So that happened the last 3 days of last week. And then Ethereum also 98.2 million outflow. So that wasn't good. However, the newest kid out of block, Solana, added 44.5 million, which actually was a bump up from Thursday. So it does seem like there is still demand there, right? Solana ETF is like the newest kid on the block, the shiniest toy right now. So some may be flocking to it. But yeah, sometimes Sometimes Wall Street gets a little panicky too. But that's okay, because they like to FOMO just like retail investors. When things get good, guess what? The inflows are massive. They seem to turn around very, very big. But the biggest problem right now in this cycle, and I think a lot of you guys noticed this, is the lack of retail investors. We have some, obviously you guys and me, and there are still some retail investors in the space, but you could see how retail has not been leading anything, okay, this cycle. In fact, since the last cycle, retail has been going lower and lower and lower, lower, lower. And this is part of the problem of why alts are still struggling while Bitcoin is not. Because retail is either too scared to enter or have found greener pasture somewhere else, like stocks, or they've been all liquidated. There's too much going on. Seems like too many people getting liquidated left and right. So that's the biggest problem right now. It's like we don't have enough retail that actually believe and are holding and DCA. And speaking of liquidations, last 24 hours, you could see another $500 million gone. Seems like this is a regular occurrence. Happens, seems like almost every week now. You get billions being liquidated. People do not understand. What is this? Jelly. There's more liquidations on ETH, Co-AI, and Jelly than all the other big cap ones. I don't even know what that is. I have no idea. But, you know, this is part of the problem too, right? Too many people that don't know what they're doing. They're gambling and they're losing. They figure, oh, it has to go up now. And then it goes down and then gets them liquidated, right? This is part of the problem. However, is it all bad news? No. Yeah, like I said, we may have days or weeks where Bitcoin is down. But does that mean things are over? No. Just a month ago, less than a month ago, a few weeks ago, Bitcoin hit a new high at 126. We're not talking about 6 months ago. We're talking about the first 2 weeks of October, we made a new high. So have we really gone anywhere? Well, if you look at our current level now, we're about the same. We have seen this before. We could certainly turn upwards. Not all is lost. We're not back down below 100K. We're not back down further than that. We're back down to where we were, like mid-October. We fell down to these levels mid to end of October. So nothing worse has happened. We also have a futures gap right around 109.9 and 109.7. Right? We know that we hate it when CME gaps are filled on the downward, trend, but sometimes CME gaps pulls things to the upside, right? So we have that because that's actually where we ended on Friday. But overall, had the metrics or the fundamentals changed? The answer is no. The answer is no. Okay. We're still, if you're looking at, when in doubt, zoom out. When you're looking at how we're moving this cycle versus previous cycles, we're definitely still up over 100% over last year. However many percent since the bottom of 2023, we're still trending higher. And we haven't hit our peak. Every single metric that we have that measures peaks for Bitcoin has not triggered. And we have like over 100 of them, right? So we have formed a golden cross recently. And we're still waiting for that top. So do not become discouraged and get out, because this is the time where you actually want to get in. If you missed out on an entire year's worth of gains, this is actually a time when you want to come in, like right at the end. So, yeah. So is that next explosive move right around the corner? I think so. I think we've been suppressed for way too long. Retail has been scared for way too long. But we will turn around, and that's when FOMO hits all across the board. I guess we'll see. And obviously the macro environment and geopolitical environment is also getting better too. Those things help. Liquidity is still skyrocketing as well. Rate cuts, that's going to help as well with liquidity. There are a lot of factors at play that are very good for a run. And we're waiting for that. And I know it's going to happen. We just have to be patient. All right. What else? What else is there? There's a big hack today. Balancer, which is one of the older DeFi projects, got hit with a 160 million drain, targeting wrapped ETH. I don't know the specifics, like what really happened, how the hackers exploited it, but it does still happen. And it's weird because this project has been out for many years. So, yeah, sometimes we still hear about this, and it kind of sucks. Right? Obviously, there's still a lot of phishing scams out there. A lot of times, an admin key gets like phished, or some kind of malware gets placed, or something like that. Happens a lot with retail investors, so just be careful. Don't connect your wallet with somewhere that you don't understand or recognize, and certainly don't give out your private keys no matter what. I still get emails from people saying, well, you know, Ledger or someone asked me for my private keys. I gave it to them, and then I got drained. Well, they wouldn't ask for that. No one would ask for that. Don't ever give it away. So that's unfortunate. And then I saw this. CZ and Senator Elizabeth Warren, they're going back and forth. CZ says he's going to sue for defamation, and Elizabeth Warren says, like, what defamation? I said things that were public and part of the plea, right? But here's that's not really what's interesting. This is what's really interesting here. And I think a lot of you guys have heard this already. If not, I'm going to play it because this is pretty, I don't know, this is pretty bad to admit. Just listen to this.
This year, the president has pardoned or shortened the sentences of more than 1,600 people. The latest pardon was for a cryptocurrency tycoon who is known as CZ. The company CZ founded, Binance, helped boost the profile of the Trump family's crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. He pled guilty in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws. Right. The government at the time said that CZ had caused significant harm to U.S. national security, essentially by allowing terrorist groups like Hamas to move millions of dollars around. Why did you pardon him?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is. I know he got a 4-month sentence or something like that, and I heard it was a Biden witch hunt.
In 2025, his crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then you pardoned CZ. How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But
I can only tell you that.
But he got a
No,
pardon?
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a business. They're not in government.
Because you were...
That was probably about the worst answer you could give to those questions. Are you ready? I don't know who he is. First of all, he has no idea who CZ is. He gave a pardon because probably people told him to just do it. And then when asked if this was a pay-to-play thing where CZ has bought like a lot of this new stablecoin or is involved with World Leader Financial, he doesn't deny it. He just says, yeah, my sons are in it. They're making a lot of money. It sounds good. That doesn't address anything. I don't know. This is what's... See, it's like a free pass right now, I feel like, for Binance. You know, I make a lot of comments about market makers, about, you know, a lot of manipulation, right? Look at Aster, how it pumped up and now is dumping. A lot of stuff, just all roads leads back to one company, and that's Binance, you know? And now they're in bed with the Trump family. They're in bed with Trump himself. They just seem to get a free pass right now. That's not right. That's not right. All right. Outside of that, let's see. NASDAQ come down a little bit. Dow's down a little bit. Nvidia's still good. Amazon's still good. Crypto has turned around. Look at MicroStrategy and Coinbase. They have turned back a lot. Looks like they want to turn green, which is good. Maybe Wall Street's coming to its senses. Like, hey, things are too oversold at this point. Okay. Let's buy. So we're back to 108. The alts are struggling. Alts are struggling hard right now. All right. Let's do some Q&A. McDonald's hiring, boys. You know, I got the joke, right? And it was funny when Bitcoin fell down to like 15,000, 18,000, 20,000. And even Michael Saylor, you know, some of you guys remember this. Even Michael Saylor joined in on that joke. He tweeted a picture of himself in a McDonald's outfit, wearing a McDonald's hat. And obviously it's satire because he's a billionaire. But yeah, that made sense when Bitcoin was 20,000 and below. Does it really make sense when Bitcoin is still above 100,000 and we're at 108? Doesn't make quite a lot of sense. Now, for some alts, I will say, yeah, some alts are just struggling. But I showed you guys, there's graphs. Retail is just has too much light of hands at this point. Don't know if it's due to liquidations. Don't know if it's due to other things. This cycle is definitely led by Bitcoin and institutions, right? There's no doubt about it. The Bitcoin maxis are laughing all the way to the bank because this is the one cycle where if you held on 100% of Bitcoin, you would have outperformed every single alt there is. Maybe with the exception of Clash, which went up like 1,000,000%. But outside of that, alts have really just not performed yet. And we need something. We need a catalyst, right? I think with alts, it's going to be different than Bitcoin. Bitcoin will always have institutional interest now and support. But we need something to trigger alts, the comeback of money into alts. And I still think it'll be one of the big catalysts will be revival of, let's say, memes and the chains they're on. And that will be a huge catalyst. And I think also, all these ETFs, like Solana ETF right now, is starting to have good inflow. I think these ETFs will be another catalyst in terms of bringing money in, but that's from institutions again. What we want is money coming in from retail side. And what draws in retail, right? Promise of big money, like memes. So I'm still waiting for that. And last week we were doing good until Jerome Powell, right? So, I mean, it seems like time is so slow in crypto. I mean, just last week we had the FOMC meeting and Powell gave a disastrous press conference, one that he never should have done, and spooked the markets. Like, there was no reason for it at all. We just have a lot of things, that's happening one after another right now. But I just feel like, again, this is like, we have this like build up. We have this pent up energy. We're ready for explosion. We really are. Everyone's ready for it. But there's something holding us back. Either, Binance or some of the whales that are now manipulating the market with their leverage calls, or some other players. I think they're going to let the floodgates open soon. And that's when, we come back full force. What if retail is broke? Most people live paycheck to paycheck. Well, that's how it's always been, every cycle. China is not doing very well right now. That may be a reason too, because in the past, there has been correlations with China's economy and their printing and how that correlates with previous cycle tops. And right now, China's not doing too well. One of the reasons why they made this deal with the US is because even though they like to, they like to say they're strong, but they're really struggling. Their economy is really struggling. They cannot afford to have this trade war ongoing with the US. I had a dream, alts were ripping and Bitcoin went to $1. What? If Bitcoin went to $1, alts would not be ripping. They'll be good. They'll be at zero. You don't want to wish for that. You don't want to wish for that. Call me crazy, but I'm starting to believe the politicians do not have best interests in mind. They do not. They do not. Just some Clash news. The collection is exploding. We were one of the top collections last week. We're still one of the top collections on Sol. I know with the down market right now, it's probably not. A lot of you guys are not interested. We'll probably still not be interested, but this is a good collection. All right. We got rares, which is T3s, T4s, T3s, which are epics. T2s are legendary. They're already gone. T1s are champions. They're gone. T3s will be the last line that still gives Clash grants in about, I think, 5 months. If Clash continues to do well, these will be invaluable. Not only that, there are other really good utility that I'm building into these, including our tournaments and giveaways and staking, and other things. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up. There'll be a lot that I'm doing with these. And people that have the old NFTs will be able to redeem as well. I just haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I will. Just to throw that out there. We're the top meme NFT collection. Not even meme, just top NFT collection on Magic Eden for a day. #1 in all of Solana, which is crazy if you think about it. Today, the only thing in stocks related is Nvidia. Nvidia's up, which is good. Palantir's up. I don't hold any Palantir. I'm just looking at it. Robinhood was green, slightly red. I think Robinhood's going to have earnings this week. This week or next week. It should be fantastic because Coinbase had earnings and it was fantastic. So Robinhood should have a fantastic earnings as well. Coinbase, up and down right now. The MicroStrategy is also kind of up and down right now. Does my HODL BTC sign ship worldwide? If there's an international option, yes. But honestly, right now, just don't buy it because I don't really have time to print them and ship them. It was fun while I did it, but it became too much of a nuisance. Shipping all the time, printing, and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm probably gonna remove it. All my energy is on Clash right now. So I don't have time to do that. Should I swap my Bitcoin to Clash to safeguard my assets? Clash is doing really well, holding really well. One of the strategies is right now, just like anything else, is let the people that don't believe sell, right? And we had a few whales exit. Right now, I'm noticing there's still one whale that seems to trade and he panic dumps and then he panic buys, but he's the one that's causing some fluctuations. But we have a huge treasury now because of the NFT sales. We have a huge treasury, over $700,000. And that will continue to go up. If Sol recovers, we will be well above $1 million in the treasury. So we can do a lot of stuff. We can boost the LP. We could stabilize prices. We could do OTC sales if we wanted to in terms of people that may want to get out and profit or, take profit. We could do a lot of development. And that's also something that we're doing. There's so much that we can do that we can last, and we can last for a long time. So I'm not really worried about clashes like whales or, people that are taking profits right now or the price because we're holding very strong. There's no other project that's holding nearly as strong as we are. So right now it's kind of like you weed out the non-believers and then we get ready for the bull market. You mentioned BSOL last week. I'm up 400%. Do you see a rug pull? I never mentioned BSOL. I think you're making that up. What is BSOL? For the Vegas party, though, people have asked for merchandise. So Someone reached out, said they have a print shop, on-demand print shop in Vegas. So I'll probably do some Clash like shirts and t-shirts for this Vegas party. That is going to be fantastic. Top 500 Clash holders were invited. T1, T2 holders also invited. We should have about like 200, 250 people in overall coming. And then private dinner with the T1 people. I'm talking about like the NFT holders. That's coming up very, very quickly in 1 month. Is a 4-year cycle now over? Not yet. Not yet. If we continue to do what we're doing, which is just like going sideways for another month, and we're like mid-December and we still haven't moved, I would say, yeah, maybe the 4-year cycle is over. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. We could just continue on into January, February, March, and just keep going. Doesn't mean that we fall into crypto winter for the next 2.5 years. Right? So the end of the 4-year cycle could be a good thing. Now, it'll never truly end because we will always have a halving event, right? So that will always be a thing. So the next halving event is 2028. And then the most bullish year should be 2029. But, you know, the way the institutions are buying and holding, I think the chances of that is greater and greater because it's going to be very tough for me to imagine that all these guys, including pension funds and retirement funds and ETFs and all these Bitcoin treasury companies, all of a sudden just all dump come end of December. All right, even the Bitcoin OGs, the whales, the long-term holders, just don't see it. So that could definitely prolong our cycle and just get rid of this whole 4-year movement thing. Super Proficiency says, I think the cycle has been stretched out due to world events. We have had a lot, right? We've had all these up and downs, a lot of geopolitical stuff. We had a new war break out, and then I think it's resolved. We still have the current one that's ongoing in Europe. Obviously, all the stuff around the Fed, the basement of the dollar, you know, like there's a lot of stuff going on. All the tariff stuff, and the trade wars, that's all happened, you know, within the last 6 months. It's actually quite crazy if you think about how many things do we had to like get past, right? And we're still trying to get past this Powell thing. Powell still refuses to like really have a dovish tone. He still maintains a hawkish tone no matter what. The cycle ended in 2021 in November because Powell, again, declared that he was going to start raising rates in December. That's the reason why. It wasn't because of some other reason. Prior cycles, we didn't have that timed up. But if you look at 2021, I remember it. The reason why 2021 we didn't hit 100,000, we stopped cold in its track, Bitcoin cold in its track at 69,000, was because Powell announced that rate hikes were going to come. So you can't use that as a measurement. Everything is different. Every cycle there's different factors, different catalysts. But the one commonality is, no matter what, Bitcoin continues to trend up. Let's not forget, again, if you look at year-to-year performance, Bitcoin is up 100%. So you can't tell me like, oh, right now things are worse than last year. They're not. Because you launch NFTs, do you consider Clash an NFT play? No. No. Clash is an extension. The NFTs is an extension and adds utility. With NFTs, we could do a whole lot. You know, my biggest thing that I'm looking at is the tournaments that we have. You know, every tournament we give away about $4,000 in prizes and giveaways. But I think we could do a lot with NFT holders now, with NFT staking. Like, you could stake your NFT for something else, right? And I'm thinking about that. And I think we can do that to expand these giveaways and prizes, which gamers and Web3 people both enjoy. So yeah, there's more things I'm thinking about, but that it doesn't make the project an NFT play. It's just an extension of the project. Am I CIA? No, I'm not. And my dad isn't CIA either, like all these guys. Isn't it weird, all the people that are calling out the CIA, their parents were in the CIA and they didn't know about it? Like, isn't that weird? When will Clash be available on Blowfin? I asked, but they want us to get a market maker. But I think eventually they'll list without it. We already have 4 exchanges with Clash. Even though the liquidity is small, it's still best to buy Clash or swap for on Phantom Wallet or on Jupiter. But we do have some sexes. But, you know, the bigger one will be Kraken. So that's going to be a big thing. And then after that, as long as we continue to do well, we continue to grow the community, that's all that matters right now. When the bull market comes back for alts, when altcoin season happens, it'll be very selective for the projects that have the best communities and best momentum. And I have no doubt that Clash will be one of the top performers, because I'm going to make it so. I'm going to put all my effort into it, like I'm doing now. November 5th is the full moon. We're going to pump sideways till then. Well, we're not going to pump sideways. We're just going to trend sideways, I think. Mark my words. Hey, full moons do move Bitcoin for sure. Like, I have this full moon indicator. Maybe I removed it. But yeah, I did remove it. But you could see that in full moons, either Bitcoin pumps or dumps. But right now, because we're so low, I think it's going to go to the upside. But we'll see. In 2 days, full moon day. Let's see what happens. Is the wrong Clash still on Coinbase wallet, base wallet? Yes. They still have some fake clash. Do not buy into that. Go on Phantom Wallet and then you can search for it. If you also need a contract address, it's in the description of this video. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. Overall, right now, not off to a good start in November, okay? Not off to a good start, but it's a new month. We got a lot of great things. Fundamentally, nothing has changed, okay? We do have some manipulation, suppression. We have FUD, but Bitcoin always gets through it every single time. It's not like we're at a level we haven't seen before. We were here just a week ago, right? So stay strong, my friends. Stay strong. Continue to hold on DCA. And I'll see you guys later, either tonight during my stream or my night video. All right? Smash a like, subscribe to the channel.